Welcome to the Happiness Matters podcast with me, your coach, Julia Seal, where we explore the puzzle of whole being happiness as professional women in our midlife, how to coach ourselves and live into the best version of ourselves, resilient, creative, and thriving, no matter what. Morning. We're now at the point of popping the last corner puzzle piece into place. If you love jigsaw puzzles, you'll know that feeling. The outline is now complete. You've got a sense of the overall shape and size of your puzzle, and this last corner piece somehow makes it all whole. And that's what we're doing here today, completing the outline of your midlife happiness jigsaw puzzle with the fourth corner puzzle piece, life patterns, the actual building blocks of your midlife. And why I called the podcast The What I Did is why your midlife is the way it is. Now, Series 1 walked you through creating the actual outline, and in detail for sure, like 56 episodes. But listen, defining happiness for ourselves is no quick thing. We want a robust and deeply personal version of happiness in our midlife. And now in Series 2, we're spending time on the four corner puzzle pieces, everything about brain management and how to use our brains purposefully to create our best life in midlife. You can find a map of our puzzling journey and an overview of my midlife happiness jigsaw puzzle of whole being happiness in midlife by listening back to episodes 2.0 and 2.1. Now, as I said, this week's puzzle piece is the fourth, and it introduces the fourth basic skill in managing your brain to create the life you want, your midlife whole being. It's about your life patterns, the wiring patterns that start in your brain and end up with you taking action in the world, your think, feel, act patterns. This is the link between your brain, your body, and the world we live in. Our think, feel, act patterns and the self-coaching we can do as we manage our midlife brains to create the lives we want. I wanted to ask you if you enjoyed my recent 8-day Midlife Happiness Habits Challenge. We had a lot of fun, and I know some of you joined in. But if you missed it, I've now loaded the whole challenge onto my website, Happiness-Matters.coach, and you can find the video clips and the workbook in the fun and free section. If you do decide to do the challenge on your own, drop me a note to let me know how you're getting on and if I can help you with anything. Now, the other thing, it's now May, and I'm taking new bookings for my 8 weeks relationship coaching. It's your opportunity to go deeper, taking what you found interesting or useful in the podcast, even today's insights, and bringing it to life with me so you can create the relationships you really want to be living in through your midlife. We're slowly coming through the COVID-19 pandemic. Very slowly. And it's time to start picking up our relationships again, repairing ones that broke, picking up neglected ones, taking your core ones to the next level. And so why not get off to a great start with me? You'll find the link to book a meet and greet session with me on the website, Happiness-Matters.coach. On the homepage, right at the top, click on the yellow puzzle piece, Coach with Julia. It's that easy. Now, let's go into the life patterns that run inside you. So your inner world. In the next episode on life patterns, I'll go into the rest of the life pattern that happens outside of you. So your outer world. And the two together, the inner life pattern and the outer life pattern, explain everything about why your life currently looks the way it does. Good and not so good. Why you're getting the results you want in your life, why you're feeling the way you do, why you take action or don't take action, everything. It's like the magic formula to your life and how you work. Now, these life patterns are actually neurological patterns wired into our brains and our bodies, and they're made up of 4 elements. 4 elements that involve your brain and your physical body. So actually it's a formula for the mind-body connection we talked about in the last episode about your inbuilt red flag system. So these elements or components of your life patterns are your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations, and your actions. That's easy enough to remember, isn't it? Any life pattern wired into your brain and body is made up of a thought, an emotion, a sensation, and an action. And we can shorten this to make it a little easier to remember: think, feel, act, or think, feel, do patterns. Yeah, it is easier to remember just those three, but don't make the mistake of forgetting that feel in this shortened version includes both emotions and sensations, which are not exactly the same but are very closely linked. Let's start with our thoughts. Our thoughts include every cognitive event, for want of a better word, that our brain creates. We actually think on 3 levels. There are those automatic thoughts that pop into our mind. Then our intermediate beliefs, rules, attitudes, and assumptions that we make. And then our core beliefs at the very deepest level, often what we call truths. These thoughts actually create, give rise to the emotions that drive our inner world. And the strongest word here is create. Thoughts actually create emotions. Now, emotions are the intersect between the mind and the body. Personally, in my coaching practice, I like to distinguish between emotions, feelings, and sensations, because so many of us can relate to the cognitive expression of the emotion, but find it incredibly difficult to connect to the embodied experience of it, the lived experience, the somatic experience. I do a great exploration of this difference in episode 1.20 called Negative Emotions and Emotional Intelligence, which I'll link to in the show notes as you might enjoy it. I look for a working definition of an emotion that will serve us in our coaching and our self-coaching, mainly because there's no scientific consensus on a definition, and history doesn't help us much either. The word emotion is an adaptation from French émouvoir from back in 1579, which means to stir up. But it was only in 1830 that the modern concept of emotion showed up in the English language. So before 1830, no one felt emotions. They felt passions and accidents of the soul and moral sentiments. And Wikipedia's definition is still quite useful for us here, where an emotion is a mental state associated with the nervous system brought on by chemical changes variously associated with thoughts, feelings, behavioral responses, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. Yeah, it's a bit dry. As I said, it's the intersect between mind and body, and I like to break up these different ingredients. So emotion to describe the mental or cognitive experience, and sensations to describe the experience in your actual body, and the word feeling as the combination of the two. We'll use mood later on as well, but we don't need it now. So as an example, unhappiness. We can describe unhappy in a very cognitive way. I'm sad, I'm discontented, I'm miserable. But it's way harder for many of us to describe in detail the experience in our bodies of unhappiness. Perhaps heaviness, shortness of breath, a pulling down sensation. This gets even more fun to work with when you start looking for its related color, or its smell, or its sound. But that's for another day. Key to remember now: emotions, sensations, and feelings are the responses created by the thought. Thoughts create all sensations, emotions, and feelings. Now, feelings provide the fuel, it's like the power, the motivation for the last inner life pattern component. Your feelings motivate every single action you take or don't take. So you've got your thoughts creating sensations and emotions, your feelings. Then these feelings motivating the actions of do or don't do. And this is your think, feel, act cycle. These are the components, the ingredients that make up your inner life, the life patterns that drive your life, and the formula of your inner wiring. So this might look overly simple, and you might even question it. especially if you've done a lot of dream therapy work or anything Freudian that talks about the id and unconscious. But don't worry, I've got you. And this way of viewing your wiring, these life patterns, makes space for all of this, whether things are buried deep in your subconscious or not. And I'll talk about this in another episode and show you a way to work with unconscious life patterns. Sounds crazy, I know, considering they're unconscious, but lots to look forward to. And also, don't write this off too quickly, because you've heard everywhere, your thoughts create your life, or mindset is everything. It sounds too easy for words. And we're hearing a lot of it on social media at the moment, and it does sound too clean and simple. Just think differently and your life will magically change. Something along the lines of the 2006 movie, The Secret. This way of viewing our lives, these life patterns, originates from cognitive behavioral therapy, which is an umbrella term for psychosocial interventions to improve mental health, or is the place where behavioral and cognitive therapies merged in the 1990s. And the basic premise is that our thoughts, emotions, body sensations, and behaviors are all connected, and so if we change one of these, we can alter the others. If you want to make changes in your life, I'm going to show you how to work with your life patterns in a practical but profound way that is purposeful and intentional to the results you want to see in your life. It's not quite so simple as portrayed in The Secret, but we can definitely get started today. In Series 1, I introduced you to 2 coaching tools that you can use to start working with these life patterns right now. If you've been following me for a while, you might already be using them, or if you did my recent Happiness Habits Challenge, you'll have practiced one already. And you'll find both these free coaching tools in the starting episode to the mini coaching journey of what to do about your negative emotions. This journey starts at episode 1.17 and runs to 1.32 as an aside. These episodes are really helpful if you're feeling terrible right now. The 2 tools to start working with your life patterns now are thought downloading and the 3 long, strong breaths tool. Now, the 3 long, strong breaths tool, there's another full episode in Series 2 on this one, episode 2.3, as well as 2 extra guided meditations for you, 2 minutes and 20 minutes. So you might not know now why this is part of beginning to work with your life patterns, but the reason I've included it is that we need to calm down your anxious brain, your stressed brain. We need to change your brain patterns so that you can actually access your thinking. When your body is pumped up with adrenaline and cortisol, your ability to do thought work is severely limited. And you're limited in your ability to clearly access all the thoughts running through your brain. And you're limited in your ability to actually work with these thoughts, to assess them, to declutter your brain, to choose different ones, and to actively think them on purpose. Now, thought downloading is a tool to help you actually declutter the inside of your brain. Yes, just like you declutter a drawer or your garage. And in your brain, it's very cluttered. According to the Laboratory of Neuroimaging at the University of Southern California, the average brain generates 48.6 thoughts per minute. This adds up to a total of 70,000 thoughts per day. I told you it was cluttered. And the National Science Foundation puts the number of thoughts between 12,000 and 60,000 a day, and they say 80% of them are negative thoughts, and 95% of them are exactly the same repetitive thoughts as the day before. So we might just want to take a look at these. Episode 1.19 shows you how to download what's going on in your brain onto a piece of paper. A download, like your computer downloading a file from the internet. And then how to separate this brain stream of yours by separating it out into the essential elements of your life patterns. Now, some of you might journal your thoughts already, and for now this is more than good enough. But I'd really encourage you to try thought downloading, as it's something different. Journaling is often a way to re-narrate your life, to help you make sense of what's happening in your life and to find new ways to work with it. Thought downloading is different to this. We're just capturing our stream of consciousness on paper so that we can work with it in our self-coaching. So it's like meditation with a pen and paper. A quick way to do this is similar to Julia Cameron's process in her book, The Artist's Way. Write a topic you're having problems with at the top of the page, and then set your phone's timer for 5 minutes and write out every single thought that comes to mind. This is the start of thought downloading and the perfect way for you to get started right now. When coaching with me, we spend time here, really getting insight into your stream of consciousness. Perhaps even seeing the 60,000 thoughts a day your brain churns out. And we tease out in detail how it all fits into life patterns. We spend time understanding why your inner life is the way it is, and we spend time understanding why your outer life is the way it is. And part of this process is bringing to your awareness, your conscious awareness, the more hidden life patterns that might be the very ones that are getting you so stuck in your midlife. We focus on systematically changing from an old think, feel, act pattern to a new think, feel, act pattern. Focusing on every level of your life, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions and feelings, your physical somatic sensations, your actions and inactions in the world, and the results of your behaviors. We don't go digging or navel-gazing. Instead, you and I work very actively with your life as it is now. We allow your brain stream to clear and clean up like a fresh running stream. And we always stay focused on what you're wanting in your midlife going forward. It is so much fun cleaning out our brains. It's like doing super rewarding housework. And there you have it for today. The last of the 4 corner puzzle pieces in your midlife happiness puzzle. The 4th piece of brain management. What we'll be doing over the next episodes is going into more detail on these 4 corners. I'll circle back through them. Brain design, meditation and mindfulness, body as brain, and life patterns. The idea in doing it this way is for you to get to see this working in your own life and then deepening, layer by layer. Of course, you can find everything on the website, Happiness-Matters.coach, the show notes for this episode, all my free coaching tools, the recent Midlife Happiness Habits Challenge, and if you're new to podcasting, how to set up any device of yours to stream the podcast automatically. May you be happy, may you be free. There is no better time to coach together. Bye for now, from a very chilly autumn morning before the sun is up.
Thank you for joining us on this Happiness Matters podcast, coaching your whole-being happiness in midlife. To join Julia for more of her midlife conversations, subscribe for free to her coaching notes by email and to this podcast. Search for Happiness Matters in Midlife to find us in your favourite podcast player app. Once you're subscribed, both of these will be delivered to your device automatically. To find all of this, click the subscribe menu of our website, Happiness-Matters.coach. That's Happiness-Matters.coach. COACH. And thanks again for listening.